Cleopatra? Alexander the Great. Their graves have not yet been found, do you know? However, it seems that the tomb of Cleopatra, the last queen of Egypt, may be found. At least that is what an archaeologist is moving towards. Cleopatra's history is vast. I will not write that history now, but the interest of history lovers about him is endless. Cleopatra is said to be flawlessly beautiful, but we have no means of verifying this relative fact. Well, he died just 30 years before Jesus was born. He ruled for 21 years. After his death, Egypt became a kingdom of the Roman Empire. Cleopatra sat on the throne after her father died, but she was not the only ruler. His brother Ptolemy, 13th, ruled Egypt jointly with him. But what happened? Their duel led to a civil war. It was about 51 BC. Good thing, but Cleopatra married her brother when Ptolemy was 10 and Cleopatra was 18 years old. Meanwhile, a new character entered the play. Roman ruler Julius Caesar's rival Pompey fled to Egypt after losing the war, took refuge with Ptolemy, that is, Cleopatra's brother. Why? Because they were already allies. What did Ptolemy do? Killed Pompey. Then Julius Caesar came and took Alexandria and found that Pompey was no more. Then he tried to explain the similarity between Cleopatra and Ptolemy. But what's the point? Ptolemy was convinced that Julius Caesar was in fact in love with Cleopatra, and that these affairs were in fact being eye-rolled all to Cleopatra's favor. Enraged, Ptolemy imprisoned Cleopatra and Caesar in the palace and besieged them. Capturing Julius Caesar is no small matter. Ptolemy died in the famous Battle of Niles, ending the siege very quickly. Cleopatra exiled her half-sister Arsinoe because Arsinoe had quarreled with Ptolemy. Julius Caesar announced that Cleopatra would now rule with her other brother. That brother's name is also Ptolemy, Ptolemy the 14th. Cleopatra married him when Ptolemy was 13 years old. On the other hand, what people thought happened. Julius Caesar and Cleopatra went a long way in hiding. Cleopatra gave birth to a son, Caesar's son, named Caesarion. Be it because of Caesarion or for whatever reason, Cleopatra went to Rome, staying in Caesar's villa for 2 years. She could have spent the rest of her life as a queen, like a Roman empress, but the cruel irony of fate, Roman senators killed Julius Caesar. It was 44 BC. What will Cleopatra do now? He had his brother Ptolemy killed. Then he declared his son Caesarion as the king. From now on, Caesarion will be his co-ruler, but he will have a new name. Can you guess? Ptolemy. Ptolemy the 15th. Then the waters of the Nilons were very turbulent, and the politics of Rome were also very advanced. Cleopatra fell in love with Marcus Antonius, the politician credited with turning the People's Republic of Rome into the Roman Empire. I will not go into the deep history of why and how. Mark Antony killed Arsinoe, the half-sister, at the request of the beloved Cleopatra, and Antony started getting his military funding from Cleopatra. They declared their 2 sons and 1 daughter as rulers of different regions. Octavian was one of the 3 who formed the second triumvirate with Mark Antony. Little did Mark know that this Octavian would become the first Roman emperor in the future. His name would be Emperor Augustus. I forgot to mention another problem of Mark. He married Octavian's sister Octavia, but did not divorce. Octavia was his 4th wife. He was involved with Cleopatra without divorcing her. Later, however, Mark divorced his wife. Ex-wife Octavia's brother, Octavian, the future Roman emperor, dismissed Mark's allies from Rome, declaring war on Cleopatra. Mark Antony and Cleopatra fought together against Octavian's Roman forces. It was about 31 BC. Antony and Cleopatra lost. Octavian's army entered Egypt. Antony killed himself with his own sword. Cleopatra learns that Octavian wants to capture her and parade her in a triumphal procession. So he poisoned himself, then died of that poisoning. People, however, thought that he was bitten by a snake on purpose, but he was not. Octavian allowed her ex-husband Mark Antony and Cleopatra to be buried together. According to another source, Antony's body was cremated. That means, if we find Cleopatra's grave, Antony's may be with her, unless he was actually cremated. Ancient from their graves, if found, can be found in Alexandria. Archaeologists speculate that Alexandria's Tapa Osiris Magna, great tomb of the god Osiris, may be found in the city's temple. But another group of archaeologists says Egyptians never buried in temples, so it is not supposed to be found here. A 1.3-kilometer-long tunnel was recently discovered, led by archaeologist Kathleen Martinez, which is thought to be another step on the way to Cleopatra's tomb. Coins with portraits of Cleopatra and Alexander the Great have also been found there. The future will tell whether the grave will actually be found or not. Apologies in advance for presenting a simplified history. Cleopatra married Mark Antony, but her previous lover, Julius Caesar, did not marry Cleopatra, but never hid the fact that Cleopatra was his protector.